to the Spirit of Catholic Education's Awards presentation and launch address for 2022. My name is Isabel Kay, School Leader of St. Joseph's School, Smithfield. Along with my school leader colleague, Pearson John, it is our pleasure to be today's MCs of the presentations. We would like to firstly ensure that in case of an emergency, you all know what to do. The exits are located to the side of the Micah Centre. The assembly point is at the top of the main car park. If we do need to evacuate, look out for the wardens wearing hard hats to guide you to the right place. The Spirit of Catholic Education Awards are presented each year during Catholic Education Week to a member of each diocese in recognition of their outstanding contribution to Catholic education. Amongst us today are the recipients of these awards, those that nominated them, and the award recipients' special guests. The Queensland Catholic Education Commission are the organisers of these awards, and it is our pleasure to invite the Honourable Margaret White, AO, Chair of the Queensland Catholic Education Commission, to make an official welcome.
Thank you very much, Isabel and Kira, for your welcoming introduction. I acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today and pay respects to elders past and present who, since time immemorial, have been and continue to be the teachers of the culture of this place. May I also acknowledge the presence today of the Most Reverend Robert McGuckin, the Bishop of Toowoomba. Thank you for hosting us at the Cathedral, Bishop. Most Reverend Mark Coleridge, Archbishop of Brisbane, and thank you, Your Grace, for those splendid words of the homily. Mr. Bart Mellish, Assistant Minister to the Premier for Veterans Affairs and COVID Economic Recovery, representing, actually, delete that, I haven't said it. Mr. Jim Madden, Member for Ipswich West, representing the Premier and Minister for Education, Grace. It's good to have you here. Dr. Pat Cogland, Executive Director, Diocese of Toowoomba Catholic Schools, thank you for a wonderfully organised event in the Cathedral and today, and particularly out on the lawns. That was charming. The Diocesan Directors of Catholic Education and other members of the Queensland Catholic Education Commission, Dr. Leanne Perry, Executive Director, Queensland Catholic Education Commission, Ms. Jacinta Collins, Executive Director, National Catholic Education Commission, and particularly welcome and thank you for coming all this way, although I realise that the warmth of Toowoomba compared to Canberra and Melbourne, where you otherwise are, is probably balmy. Recipients of the Spirit of Catholic Education Awards, their families and guests, and representatives of our Catholic Education Week sponsors, of which Dr. Perry will say more in a moment. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all today on behalf of the Queensland Catholic Education Commission to the official launch of Catholic Education Week and the presentation of the Spirit of Catholic Education Awards. We're most grateful to Dr. Pat Coughlin and the Diocese of Toowoomba Catholic Schools Office for the warm welcome all our Catholic Education Week guests have received, and for the organisation and significant effort that has gone into making today the success it undoubtedly has been and will be. Some years ago, the Commission thought that it would enhance Catholic Education Week and unify its purpose if the launch were moved around the state. This initiative commenced in the Cairns Diocese in 2018. Finally, having made its way south, the show has reached Toowoomba. We are reminded yet again of the diversity of our Catholic school communities, from the small primary schools of the far west and the border regions to the large colleges here in Toowoomba, which may very well be called Education City. And we were reminded especially of that with that charming tapestry in the cathedral this morning. Each year, Catholic Education Week provides opportunities for Catholic schools to celebrate both the unique character of each school and the common heritage that binds them together. Our theme this year, Communities of Faith, hope and love, goes to the very heart of what makes a Catholic school and what should mark us out as different from other choices available to families when it comes to education. Excellence, inclusiveness, diversity, compassion, family, friendship, community, contribution, and as Archbishop Coleridge reminded us this morning, self-sacrificing love. In these years of the pandemic, it has been salutary to recognise the importance of participation in community for everyone, even the most self-sufficient or solitary. Until we lost the right to associate, to mix and mingle as we wished, and were deprived of the energy that comes from working and learning together, perhaps we hadn't fully appreciated the essential role of community in developing, nourishing, and sustaining our lives. Community remains central to the lives of Catholic schools, and it is our hope that when our students leave us, they will be well equipped with the skills, confidence, and desire to serve others that will ensure that they are contented adults and make a valuable contribution to the broader world of which they will be an important part. In Queensland, we're fortunate that Catholic school communities enjoy the support of families, parishes, business communities, and governments, all of whom are represented amongst us today. Our close working partnership with the Queensland Government is an important underpinning of Catholic education. I'm pleased to be able to welcome Mr. Jim Madden MP, member for Ipswich West, who has had a long personal association in educational institutions at every level in this region. Our celebrations fall during the very busy Estimates Committee hearings in State Parliament, and we're very grateful to you, Mr. Madden, for making time to join us for this important occasion in the life not just of Catholic education, but education generally in Queensland. So would you kindly welcome Mr. Madden, for he is to launch Catholic Education Week on behalf of the Minister of Education, Minister Grace. Thank you.
Thank you for that very kind introduction, Margaret. I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, their elders past, present and emerging. I'd also like to acknowledge the dignitaries that have been listed by Margaret, but I'd really like to acknowledge the schools that have participated in today's service. Not just the schools from Toowoomba, but the schools from the Southern Downs and the Western Downs. I'd like to thank the students, the staff and the teachers, and including the St Mary's Choir that we enjoyed the singing of. I'd ask you all to put their hands together just to thank them. And also our compares here today. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Yes, please do. Now, good morning, everyone, and I can't tell you how pleased I am to be asked to speak at today's launch. It's my pleasure to be here representing not only the Premier of Queensland, Anastasia Palaszczuk, but also the Minister for Education, Grace. I should also add that I'm also here today as a proud member of the Ipswich Catholic community and also a proud product of Catholic education, having attended St Mary's Primary School in Ipswich and St Edmund's College in Ipswich, and I don't think I would be where I am today without the education I received at both those schools. And I should mention my cousin and namesake, Monsignor James Madden, who served in the Toowoomba Parish from 1930 until 1935 as the Bishop's Secretary, and probably more to the point, the Diocesan Inspector of Schools for the Diocese of Toowoomba. And after a short stint at Manly Seminary in Sydney as a lecturer, Mons Madden, as he was always called by our family, returned to Toowoomba to assume the post of parish priest from 1936 to 1940. So I've got a very strong connection with this parish here. And I should mention also that I once had the honour of serving as an altar boy for Mons Madden, but of course, as an altar boy, I wasn't brave enough to actually talk to Mons, and and sadly, the opportunity never arose again, and that's a great loss for me that I was never able to speak to my namesake. But today isn't about Monsignor Madden, and it isn't about Madden family history. Today we celebrate the launch of Catholic Education Week in Queensland, and we recognise the invaluable contribution to our state education system. But of course, this contribution has been made over a long history, almost from the beginning of the history of Queensland as a state, and we cover every corner of our state. And in my travels, I'm always pleased when I go to outlying towns like Longreach and I still see a Catholic school there. And a vote of thanks to Pat Conlon, Executive Director of Toowoomba Catholic Schools, and the students, teachers and staff of the Toowoomba Catholic Schools for hosting this event today. And the theme of this year's celebrations is Communities in Faith, Hope and Love. Communities in faith, hope and love. And what three important words they are. And one of the things I love about Catholic services, and it was again today, is the use of the word love. And I think it goes beyond what we talk about love. It's more of a community thing. And I was very glad, Your Grace, that you mentioned it in your homily today. But with so many challenges in recent times and the ever-increasing use of online technology, building up and strengthening our educational communities, especially at the grassroots level, is vital. Highlighting virtues such as faith, hope and love underscores the particular perspective that Catholic education brings to the diversity of choice in our education system. Choice. The Catholic sector can be justifiably proud of the quality of education it provides, which is certainly well recognised in our community. The Catholic emphasis is on a holistic approach to educating students, and it's highly valued by so many members of our society. In Queensland, we have 313 Catholic schools with around 22,000 staff and around 158,000 students engaged and excited about education, and it's certainly something that we celebrate with this week of Catholic education. And I'm pleased to advise that in 2021-22, the state government provided Catholic schools with $456.6 million in recurrent funding and $66.8 million in capital assistance. And I know that this money was well spent. Not only to build and operate physical facilities like the facility we're in today, but also to achieve great outcomes for our wonderful young people, like those who have joined us here today, including our compares here today. I'd like to congratulate each and every nominee for this year's Spirit of Catholic Education Awards. I've read their stories, and the energy and commitment to building and strengthening our community is all inspiring. And the Queensland Government welcomes a continued strong working relationship with Catholic education in Queensland, and special thanks to Queensland Catholic Education Commission, led by the Honourable Margaret White, for its input and contribution in so many ways. The Queensland Catholic Education Commission continues to focus on commissioning new schools and expanding existing schools in high growth areas right across Queensland. So I was very excited to learn that there are plans for a new Catholic school at Westbrook. It will be called St Francis Catholic College, which will give local families even greater choice and closer to home in this part of the world. Congratulations again on Catholic Education Week 2022 and all that Catholic education has achieved to date. I look forward to the special awards presentation, which will follow soon, which recognises the outstanding work of people who contribute so much, not only to their local communities, but society in general. And as we all know, Australia's first canonised St Mary of the Cross, MacKillop, was a key figure in the development of Catholic education in Australia. So it was great to see that her motto, never seen a need without doing something about it, is still being practiced today. So in conclusion, I look forward to a long and prosperous future for Catholic education in Queensland, and it has been my absolute pleasure to represent the Premier, Anastasia Palaszczuk, and the Minister for Education, Grace Grace, at today's ceremony. Thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Madden. We are so glad you could join us in this celebration of Catholic education. We greatly appreciate the support of our members from Parliament. We now come to the presentation of the Catholic Education Awards. We invite Dr. Leanne Perry, Executive Director of Queensland Catholic Education Commission, to lead this presentation.
Thank you, and may I begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands, not only where we gather here in Toowoomba, but wherever our Catholic schools are located across the state, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Thank you so much, Jim, for your attendance here today, for representing the Premier and the Minister. As Margaret has pointed out, it's Estimates Week in Parliament, which is a very pressured week for all parliamentarians, including committee members as well as ministers, so we appreciate the time. And Jim's told us a little about his story. As many of you are aware, both the Premier and the Minister for Education were both educated in Catholic schools. And so Catholic education has a very powerful influence amongst the lawmakers of this state, and I think it's something that's really important to recognise. And we look to them to reflect in their decision-making the values that were imbued in them when they were attending Catholic schools. So my thanks again, Jim, for your presence today. Could I also acknowledge the many special guests? I won't list them all today, but thank you for your attendance. I would like to particularly acknowledge our partners in education. Catholic education, we're a very unified group, but education in Queensland is a very collaborative enterprise. And we share the work that we do for the young people in our schools with many partners. And so I'd particularly like to acknowledge the representatives of the Queensland College of Teachers and the Queensland Curriculum and Assessment Authority for joining us today, because it's our partnerships which make all schools strong, and that's what we are all committed to, providing the best possible education for every young person, irrespective of the schools they attend. So really very pleased to welcome you today. But my job today is to introduce the stars of the show, the recipients of the Catholic Education Week Awards. And I know that each of them would say they are here on behalf of others. So they will receive an award for the outstanding work that they have done. But they're part of teams, they're part of communities, and I know they would see themselves here representing that family, that community of which they're a part. But nevertheless, it's really important to recognise their special contribution, their special leadership, and we look forward to that. So our recipients, of course, all have one thing in common. They're all committed to Catholic education, they're all committed to the communities of which they're a part, and they all exemplify faith, hope and love. And so I'm very pleased to be able to introduce them, but before I do that, could I invite Margaret and Jim to come back on stage, because they're actually going to do the presentations. And when you have a moment, if you haven't already done so, I do encourage you to read the full story of each recipient, which is in your brochure and is also on the Catholic Education website. I'd also just like to acknowledge at the outset we have been a little bit affected by COVID, unsurprisingly, so we have some fill-in recipients and we have some virtual recipients here today as well. So our first recipient is Kay Holmes, and Kay is one of the ones who is actually being represented by Dr. Sally Towns today, because Kay is unable to be here. Kay has served Catholic education through her committed teaching and for the last 8 years in her role as campus minister at Our Ladies College at Annerley in the Archdiocese of Brisbane. In these roles, Kay has demonstrated exemplary service to the goals of Catholic education and built community wherever she worked. As campus minister, she has instigated numerous community service activities, created prayer spaces and services for staff and students, and promoted social justice issues. Kay can be found volunteering wherever there is a need. She brings grace and compassion to her school and is recognised at Our Ladies as a person of true integrity. Kay is unfortunately unable to be with us, and her principal is also unable to be with us today, but I know they're here with us in spirit. But accepting the award on behalf of Kay is the Executive Director of Brisbane Catholic Education, Dr. Sally Towns. So we're congratulating Kay. Our next recipient is from the Diocese of Cairns, and it's Wayne Wood. Care for students, support for staff, connection with the community and living out his faith are all hallmarks of St Mary's Catholic College Principal Wayne Wood. Wayne has a strong focus on developing the capacity of all staff at St Mary's and has implemented a professional learning structure that has allowed all teachers to focus on improving their classroom skills. Wayne also ensures the needs of all learners are met, including First Nations students, those needing additional support and high potential learners. Wayne's Catholic identity is evident through his witness and connection. He actively lives out the college's motto of faith, hope and love, giving daily attention to it and ensuring that it is in the hearts and minds of all in the community. Congratulations, Wayne. We're moving down the coast. The next recipient from the Diocese of Townsville is Claire Plant. Claire embraces the school motto of love is service and is witness to Mary MacKillop's conviction of never seeing a need without doing something about it, which Jim referred to before. Claire has been a member of the school and parish community at St Joseph's Catholic School in Mundingborough for close to 40 years and continues to work as the school chaplain. Claire plays an integral role in facilitating the school Mini Vinnies program, and she also facilitates Christian meditation for staff, students and families. During 2021, Claire stepped out of her comfort zone to assist the school, filling the role of APRE. Claire bears witness to gospel values, nurturing and developing them in those around her. Congratulations, Claire. Travelling further down the coast to the Diocese of Rockhampton, the recipient is Helen Howell. Helen unfortunately is unable to be with us. Hopefully she's joining us live stream so we can all give a wave to Helen as we hear about some of the work that Helen has done. So Helen has been teaching in Queensland Catholic schools since 1985 and joined her current school community the following year. She was appointed Deputy Principal at the college in 1996. Helen is highly regarded in the broader community as a long-time servant leader of Emmaus College, a role model in leadership for women and men, and part of the heart, soul and spirit of Catholic education at Emmaus. She's overseen the introduction and maintenance of major initiatives affecting the learning culture and community of Emmaus College. Helen will receive her award at a special ceremony to be organised in the Diocese of Rockhampton, and so we congratulate Helen. Yes, it's being sent up. Yes, it will be sent up to Helen so it can be presented in Rockhampton for her. So I'm not sure, is this the Helen one? No, we're moving on. So, coming closer to home, the next recipient, a local from the Diocese of Toowoomba, is Brian Cantwell. Brian's deep commitment to maintaining and building an inclusive community at St Joseph's College is what makes him exceptional. Whether it is sharing the history of the college with new staff, cooking up a feast on the college barbecue, or one of his famous mystery bus trips to support towns in drought or flood, he has a way of ensuring staff want to be involved. For students, his leadership of initiatives that engage them in service and outreach have built wonderful partnerships and widened their sense of community. As a member of the school's leadership team, Brian exemplifies the Edmund Rice tradition. Brian's ministry of presence is key to his leadership, his reliability, relationality, consistency and genuine support for the St Joseph's community. Congratulations, Brian. As you've seen, we've had a recipient from each of our dioceses around the state. We also have a recipient chosen from amongst the Religious Institute Ministerial PJP schools. And the recipient this year from Brigidine College at Indooroopilly is Andrew Byers. As Deputy Principal Mission, Andrew makes a positive difference in the lives of those with whom he engages. He upholds the school's values and has led many initiatives and programs at the college for students, staff and alumni. He is an advocate for change at the college in many ways through his work supporting First Nations students and families, through his work with faith and formation of staff and students, and his focus on the well-being of the entire community. Andrew wants all people to be successful. He helps, serves, lifts up, supports, challenges and extends the people in the Brigidine College community. Congratulations, Andrew. And our final and very special award is the Auntie Joan Hendricks Reconciliation Award, and the recipient for 2022 is Jennifer King. Jennifer, would you like to come up rather than sitting down there so we can talk about you while you're standing in front of us? So Jennifer has been the Indigenous Education Officer at St Monica's College in Cairns since 2014. She's worked unceasingly to offer Indigenous students life-changing opportunities by ensuring they have access to the best possible learning and teaching to improve their educational outcomes. Jennifer is a proud descendant of the Butchulla, Djurubal, Darawara peoples and has ensured that students know their nations and state them proudly. She works many hours above and beyond the expectations of the role to ensure that both day and boarding students are supported. Jennifer assists families with enrolment, orientation, obtaining books and uniforms, and her recent work has involved establishing a mentoring program using Indigenous seniors to mentor the junior students. During the difficult COVID period, Jennifer has worked tirelessly to ensure students attending online learning were not falling behind in their studies. Congratulations, Jennifer.
Thank you. So I would like to acknowledge the Gyirbal and Djarawar people, the traditional custodians of the land, waterways and skies on which we stand on. I pay my respects to the elders past, present and future, for they hold the memories, culture and wisdom that have been passed down for hundreds of generations. In spite of past histories, may we use this space to unite people of all walks of life and learn from one another on our journey towards growth, healing and reconciliation. I am honoured to follow in the footsteps of Auntie Joan Hendricks, who encouraged dialogue and sharing of cultural story and experience. I am passionate about reconciliation and working with my community to strengthen the spirit of young Indigenous people, whilst also educating and working collaboratively with non-Indigenous staff. I'm driven to work with my community in hope for equality and a better future for my people. Being nominated for this award makes me feel that my role as the Indigenous Liaison Officer is valued, is respected and supported. And I hope by receiving this award, other dioceses and schools will invest in their Indigenous staff and or their program. And I hope to continue with my work in our community. Thank you.
And if you could join with me in congratulating all of the recipients of the 2022 awards. Thank you to Margaret and Jim for the presentations, and there will be a photo opportunity outside when we conclude.
As students of a Catholic school, we wish to thank the recipients of the Spirit of Catholic Education Awards on behalf of students everywhere. We would also like to thank the sponsors of Catholic Education Week, Australian Catholic Superannuation and Retirement Fund and Australian Catholic University. We ask that Paul Lynch, National Relationships Manager from ACSRF, comes forward to receive a token of appreciation. We also invite Professor Suzanne Kais from ACU to come forward to receive her a token of appreciation. Our parents play a key role in supporting our education and have been involved in our school life since we were in prep. Catholic School Parents Queensland supports parents like ours, parents who choose Catholic education for their children. We invite Carmel Nash, Executive Director of CSPQ, to come forward to offer a vote of thanks.
Sorry, everybody. Knee surgery on the 20th of September. I too would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. Today has been such a wonderful day and such a great celebration of what makes up Catholic education in Queensland. From our beautiful liturgy this morning to the achievements of our students and the selfless contribution of our staff, volunteers and families in our schools. Our schools could not achieve all they do were it not for our partnership with government, and so I would like to thank Mr Jim Madden, MP, for his presence here today. As many of you know, the parliamentary estimates hearings begin this week, so we're grateful that Jim was able to take time in a very busy schedule to be with us. To Bishop Robert, Dr Pat Coughlin and the staff of the Toowoomba Catholic Schools Office, thank you for your hospitality and for making today's celebration so special. In particular, I'd like to thank Tracy Jacklin and her team for their efforts in organising today's event. I think we should give them a clap. It's been wonderful. We know there are endless hours involved in making sure an event like this runs smoothly. To Archbishop Mark, who never misses a Catholic Education Week, and we're grateful to have him here supporting the event today. Thank you, Archbishop Mark. Thanks to our award recipients, their guests, and all who have travelled here today to make this occasion special for them. We hope you've enjoyed the day, and we're sure you'll celebrate further when you go back to your school communities. The celebration of Catholic Education Week is made possible by the generous sponsorship of Australian Catholic University and the Australian Catholic Superannuation Retirement Fund. We thank them for their contribution, which, among other things, allows us to bring our award recipients together today and also funds their bursaries. Thank you to Jacinta Collins for travelling up from Melbourne to join us today on behalf of the National Catholic Education Commission. This is Jacinta's first visit to the Diocese of Toowoomba as Executive Director of NCEC, and so we hope you've enjoyed seeing a few things of what this vast diocese has to offer. I know Jacinta enjoyed her visits to schools yesterday. I would also like to thank the Honourable Margaret White, AO, the Diocesan Directors of Catholic Education and other members of the Queensland Catholic Education Commission who have joined us today. This celebration provides us with a chance to move beyond our everyday local experience of Catholic education and taking the extent of the achievements of Catholic schools across Queensland. To Dr. Leanne Perry and the staff of QCEC Secretariat and members of the Catholic Education Week Working Group, thank you for your part in coordinating this Catholic Education Week as you do each year. While the celebrations last a week, the work to ensure they are a success goes on throughout the year. And I know, having been part of that committee, that theme work will start next month, and Marie will be so excited about that, to get another theme happening. Finally, I'd like to thank our two MCs here today, Isabel and Kira from St Joseph's School in Stanthorpe, the most southern of all Queensland Catholic schools. They have done an amazing job leading us through today's event and reminding us what students achieve through Catholic education. So thank you everybody for being here.
Toowoomba Catholic Schools have been honoured to host this year's launch of Catholic Education Week. This hosting honour moves around the state, and next year the launch will be hosted in Townsville. We ask that Dr. Pat Coughlin now present the Catholic Education Week candle to Jackie Francis, Director of Catholic Education in the Townsville Diocese. This is a sign of passing the baton to ensure that the flame of Catholic education continues to glow. That brings us to the end of the launch of Catholic Education Week for 2022. We thank you for joining us here in Toowoomba and online around the state. Our schools have really enjoyed getting involved in this year's celebrations, and we would like to leave you with some of their reflections on what faith, love and hope means to them and their communities.